A very good evening, morning, and afternoon to all of you who have joined us today. I hope you all are doing great and had a great week, great last week. We have we have a very interesting session lined up for you guys today. And we have Mukesh with us. Mukesh is an accomplished product designer. He has graduated from IIT Guwahati and currently leads the product design team at Astha Credit. With over 4 years of experience in designing digital products, Mukesh has worked with renowned organizations such as Yocket, Economic Times, Dineout, and many more. He's also a dedicated mentor for design aspirants, and he has recently completed a design cohort UI UX for beginners, where he successfully guided and helped over 30 design aspirants across India in entering the design industry. Welcome to ProApp workshop, Mukesh. The stage is all yours, and thank you for taking out time for us on a weekend and doing this.
Thank you so much, Rasika and ProApp, for providing this opportunity to speak in front of this audience. I really wanted to do this because somehow I know that I wanted to create that awareness of a UX design in the market as well. So just I will be sharing the experience and like what exactly is the basic essentials of all the UX design especially. So I'll be covering more of a UX design part. So let me share my screen and then we'll start. Okay, so quick intro about me. I think Rashika have already given quick detailed intro about me, but overall, yeah, I'm currently leading the product design team at Astha Credit. Before that, I was leading the design team at Yocket as well. So it was a study abroad platform based in India. We are helping a student and working professional who can go for higher studies. Before that, I worked for various company called Dineout and EdgeVerve as well. And yeah, back in time, I have done my Bachelor of Design from IIT Guwahati and currently pursuing my MBA as well from ProApp MBA Business School actually. So yeah, apart from that, actually, I'm working professionally in the industry as well. I parallelly being very active in the all the mentoring platform, of the popular mentoring platform. EduPlace Designer Lab, I have taught design course, one of the design course in the Designer Lab based in Bangalore. I'm active mentor on Exportron and Function app as well. So let's start with the very basic thing that we all like, or anybody like generally face this question in the first question as an interview, right? After the tell me about yourself. So what is user experience and what is like UI, user interface, and how exactly it is different? So as you all know, the very basic definition of the UX and UI is that UX is focused on the overall experience for the product and the services. It means that how exactly user is going to use the product, talking about the complete end-to-end experience of it. And UI is more of focused on how exactly the design look like visually and how exactly user interact with it. So the topic that today I'm going to cover is user research, so more of a UX process of it. The user research, why exactly user is required, what are the user research, what are the various methods for user research with some of the examples so that we'll get to know the ground level gist of it as well. Persona, user flow, task flow, and information architecture. So I will be touching this topic in very detail. Apart from that, you have any question, we can discuss in Q&A as well. So before jumping to the core UX thing of it, I just wanted to show you why exactly UX is important. Because I've seen while hiring a lot of designer in my earlier and current company as well, while taking the interview, I got to know that they're having very surface level understanding of a UI and UX actually. So I wanted to let them know that, or everybody let them know that how exactly UX is important, and even it is going to be helpful for you as well to communicate to the team that how exactly UX designer is adding value to any of the company and the team actually. So there are certain aspects that exactly we are contributing in the industry and to the app and the product that we build, that we design. So we can discuss more about it that as well. So first is the retaining user for a longer times, which is called user retention in a very specific word. So any interface which is having a very great layout, right? It's very easy to navigate and attract kind of user that you really want for your app or a complete user digital experience as well. It's a kind of a having a high retention, user retention. It means that low bounce rate. Low bounce rate, I mean to say like user is not returning back less of, and it also helps that it create a really good brand image. For example, if I'll ask you as a question, so I want my audience, this webinar to be very interactive actually. So I'll ask some question. If I'll say, tell me some of the company name, which is really kind of called as a design driven company. So what exactly names comes in your mind? Like any company you can give example, or you can start typing in the chat actually. Let me open chat as well. Meta, Nike, IBM, okay, Swiggy, Google, Uber. Yeah, there are a lot of apps. Yeah, this Lollipop Design Studio is a company name itself. I'm talking about the something that the product they have look like it's a design driven, or like they focus more into a design. They invest into design and they really crave for the design as well. Yeah, Insta, Facebook. So yeah, so there are a lot of app in the market who really focus more on the how exactly the complete product can be design driven as well. Yeah, good guys. So example, even Facebook, I have taken example of Facebook, which has really a nurtured interaction. If you see like 8-year-old Facebook, and now if you see a Facebook, it has been tons of things and great UI. Obviously, now they have simplified the UI as well. If you see like, so that it fits into a dark and white theme both as well. And the feature that actually they have achieved 5% increase in a daily active user. It's very less number, by the way, it's outdated data. Now number has been around 8 to 9% nowadays. Second thing that that UX, as a UX designer, we contribute, and why exactly it is important that we can boost any of the brand. If you take any example of Swiggy, for example, when Swiggy came into the Indian market first time as a food delivery app, already the good player were there actually. So Swiggy created their image of having a design driven company. They're focusing more on user pain point, user need, and they differentiated themselves with the Zomato and the other market player which were there in the Indian market. So by offering the value, okay, and we can the product, the service that we are building as a designer, that can really help any brand to kind of boost their branding image in the market as well. Third one is with help of your good UX design, actually you can attract new customer on the platform as well. So it's simple that if we really understand the need of a customer, you will be attracting more like a prospect or a client that we say, or a user that we say, okay, which can really be converted from the being a free user or not being a user to the user of your application as well. So with outstanding UX, the right approach, the unique customer interest that you find out, and you can convert them into your own app or application or your product user as well. UX has the power to increase the conversion rate of your platform. What exactly it means, the conversion rate? Let's suppose that you have a platform which having certain premium offering, and you're having a free offering as well, and you want all of the user who like initial users comes on your platform as a free user. Generally, how exactly it happens for max of the application and max of the company as well. And they your goal as a company always like to how exactly we can convert those free user into a premium user actually, with help of good UX, by really taking care of their pain point and really focusing on their need, what exactly they want. Okay, and you exactly can help them easily, your company, to convert the free user to premium user, which will really boost your company revenue too. The next one is, obviously, as a designer, if you're really creating a good content, obviously this good UX design boost your SEO as well, which is called search engine optimization. So your product or a company or a brand will be more discoverable and searchable or findable on the internet in Google as well. By writing the good UX copy, by creating the good design, having really neat and crisp description of your product, excellent design actually will optimize your overall site for SEO as well, which is called sharp ranking actually, search engine optimization ranking actually. And overall, as a designer as well, I'll tell you, you really can save or reduce the cost of your like any of the product or feature that your company is building. How exactly? I will tell you with some of the example. Let's suppose that earlier design were not there in the company, and at some level, every kind of product stakeholder or developer are deciding the feature and they're really directing developing it. but at some extent level it doesn't work. For example, it might like skewed, or at some point it might crash, or user might kind of they are not able to retain it. So somehow it is increasing the cost of kind of maintaining the platform again and again, by putting more effort in development and analyzing as well. And if your product, if you're thinking, if you're utilizing the UX design technique to create your product or develop the process, it will really kind of, and you think of all the usability principle beforehand itself launching the product, it will kind of very reduce the cost of your product while launching, and even in future as well, for example of maintenance. So good usability testing really would be helpful for launching a really kind of low cost product, or a low maintenance product for your next startup or a company as well. Overall, if you're designing with help of UI and UX, you can obviously can create an optimal experience for different sizes. And you might have seen for a lot of company which has not been focused on UI UX design, you see their product on the web, which is really good. But if you really open their product in a mobile devices or low resolution size devices, it is not been optimized in that way so that it look good. So a lot of user who doesn't have a desktop devices or laptop, who really want to operate or use their services with help of a phone or smartphone or lower resolution devices, they really kind of doesn't feel happy about using it because their interface doesn't behave good and it's not looking good as well. So with help of UI and UX, you can even optimize their overall application for different PCs, smartphone and tablet as well. That will ensure that overall having a seamless experience for mobile user, a small device user as well. And overall it can improve the customer satisfaction as well. So well-crafted design actually offer a smooth navigation. So if you really give time into designing of any of application, actually obviously you are going to create a very easy and seamless and easy to use navigation for the user as well, which really they will enjoy while using your app. So it is kind of having they will be really satisfied. For example, if you use any Swiggy app or use IKEA app, so it's very neat and clean, easy to use. So that's why you feel good about it, and you are like satisfied of being used, and you don't have to switch to any other application as well. Now let's talk about what exactly we are the topic that we landed here. So let's understand the core of UX. These are the 5 major kind of pillar, I can say, or like core UX thing that you really have to focus. Then exactly your UI designing part also would be easier in your product to really have a great user experience. Thank you, Rasika, for yeah, you guys, you can reach me on LinkedIn as well. I think our team have posted my LinkedIn ID. So yeah, so overall topic that I am going to cover is user research, persona, user flow, task flow, and information architecture. So let's start with the user research. Let me minimize this. I think this is going to hide some level of, yeah, or let me close it. Okay, so start with the user research. So let's understand first of all what exactly the user research. Okay, user research is something that as a designer, when you get any project or when you get any product to design from the starting as like a topic, then this is the first thing that we have to do as a designer. So it's like it's a methodic study of a target user. So whoever you would be going to be your user of application, you are going to study more about them, like their need, their pain point, their behavior, what devices they use, in which context they are exactly. So designer have the like it's a sharpest possible way or like insight that will get it from user research is going to make the best design for the application as well. So the next question is the main question that I ask. I mean, all the design aspirant that come to interview of while I'm hiring for any of the company as well. Like why exactly user research is required for your context, for your problem statement, or for you that what exactly you have designed. So a lot of them are kind of lack because they know that they have to follow the user research technique, but they don't know the ground level why exactly we have to follow, how exactly it is going to help them to the solution that they are going to come up. So let's understand what exactly why user research is required. So first of all, user research help you to understand the context of a project. So whenever you are having a project, obviously you don't know which direction to go actually. To understand more about your current project that you have received, and the more develop the understanding the problem that you're going to solve for the user, exactly user research help you. It also tells you who your user are, like it will give you the clear picture that who is going to be a user and who is really going to use your product in the future as well. Lot of time, one mistake that I have observed for Max, a lot of new designer that is coming up, but by not having a proper education, I'm not telling everybody, but yeah, some of them are lacking in that as well, that they assume themselves as a user, which is really bad. As a, like, you will be really biased if you assume yourself as a user for the application that you are designing. So never assume yourself as a user. You might be a potential user in future as well, but please avoid this thing so that you don't get biased with your own thought and your own problem statement, and rather than really looking for right what exactly is the correct need and the problem statement for the real user as well. It also gives you the context, like why exactly you will be using, where exactly your user will be using the product and services as well, what exactly their need. Okay. Also in the last as well, user research help you when you do the user testing or user research in the last process as well, that how exactly you can measure the what impact that have been created, or how exactly it is really adding value to the people as well. So now overall in the internet or everywhere has been taught that there is a two kind of user research: primary, secondary, qualitative or quantitative. So I'm not going to much detail into that, but I will give you the high level understanding. Primary user research is the research technique where you are really involving your user directly with you by either chatting with them, conversing with them, discussing with them, or you being in their environment area where exactly they are going to use your product as a user as well. Secondly, something that is you are not involving your user directly in your process. That is must of the call secondary research, or that we also name in a two categorize user research in a two different way: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is something that you are collecting data more about behavior, their observation, okay, what their thought process. And quantitative is something that you really collect about data, like how many clicks they have, where exactly they go for. So if you collect the quantitative data, it's more of a quantitative user research as well. So there are a lot of technique that you might have heard or might have seen or used personally as well in your specific project and context in your respective company. But there are in left side there are few popular user research technique. Right side there are other few technique as well. Any technique can be used in based on your requirement of a project, and really that what is which method really required for your context of your project as well. So user interview is the very common technique. User survey, analytics, checking the analytics of the current user if they're thinking of redesigning some feature as well. Card sorting method, usability testing as well. Apart from that, there are few other methods called competitive analysis, A/B testing, ethnographic field studies, diary studies, customer journey mapping, and fly and wall technique as well. I will give you just one online definition of everything as well, but I will go much deeper for user interview. Competitive analysis, nothing but you are analyzing your competitor in the market so that you can understand their strength, what is their weakness, strength something that you really going to carry forward in your application as well. Weakness is something that you are going to avoid or like correct it in your solution as well. The opportunity area that they have missed. Okay, like doing the SWOT analysis of a competitive analysis, generally competitor helps as a designer as well. So something where is the space that they have not done anything, that is like opportunity space for you as being a designer, that some new feature you can bring it, which will really differentiate your product compared to their product as well. A/B testing, nothing but creating a two different design of a same thought, same process, but having a different path and clicks as well. And when you are a designer or a company, we're not clear which is going to work for the user, you are really going to test before launching and after launching. So there is a two-way of A/B testing as well. Before launching to the market, first you also like at a design level, like you create a clickable prototype in the Figma or any of the design software that we use, and we test with the real user or internal user with in our company as well. And we also observe that which of the flow is giving a more simpler and easy to use experience for the user, and based on that you decide to go ahead with either A design or a B design. After development also, at development stage also it happens. So for example, you have created two design and both design has been developed by developer, and you are going to test A design with your 30% with audience and B design as well with the remaining 30% of the audience. or overall the 30% of the overall audience as well. And you're going to observe the analytics, which is like in the left side as well. Like, okay, out of 30%, how many users have used a design and how many users have used the B design as well. So this is the one of the technique where you're really going to test your two final design, which is going to really work for the user as well, if you're not sure as a company or a designer. Ethnographic field study, you're really being in the context of the user as well. Something called, this is also called contextual inquiry, where you really have to visit. You don't have to like bring user to your place. You really have to visit in the user context and understand what is at ground level, how exactly they are living it, and how exactly they are using your product. For example, you are designing a farmer app. So obviously farmer would not be using your application by sitting on a table and chair and an office and any fancy environment. They will be using your application in a very raw environment, maybe in the field, maybe in the village, maybe in the very sunny environment. So while you'll do the user research, ethnographic study or contextual inquiry in their, by going their environment, you will be maybe considering a lot of factor like your color, the color or the font style that you're going to use should be really kind of bolder, and it should be having contrast so that they can read easily your content of the app in a very sunny environment. That's one simplest example I can give. Diary study, something that like you tell user to write a diary about it, any of the things that context that they give, and then you study about it and then make a note as well. Customer journey map, by creating a end-to-end customer journey from end-to-end of using the services, and then understanding their pain point and their place where they're suffering and something that they're enjoying as well. Fly and wall technique is very rarely used in the digital design. It has been mostly used in the designing for any physical or a process or a system design process. Actually, this technique called, actually it's a fly which is sitting on the wall and watching everybody in the place. It's something that this, how exactly we can do is that maybe you can record by a camera, by placing a camera in the certain environment where really user are using without disturbing them, without asking any certain question. So this is very rare technique that you have to use based on really your exact requirement. So now we'll go to the specific part of the major primary popular user research method that everybody use on a digital, creating any digital product. User interview, user survey, analytics, card sorting, and usability testing. Let's start with the one by one. User interview. So user interview, like it's a, first of all, it is a qualitative research method that involve having a very open-minded or a guided discussion where you can really gather in-depth understanding of their really experience of the user or like need or motivation and behavior. Generally, this kind of user interview, there is a two way to do that. Nowadays, mostly we are doing online. But earlier, the best practice to bring either user to your environment or like you visit to the user environment and really sit face to face. Because when you really sit face to face with your user or talk with the user and ask either a directed question or a planned question, or like ask in a flow that the interview or the complete interview and the discussion is going on, so that you will also like having some gathering some quantitative data as well, but that is not the primary task, but more of like observing when you ask some question, how exactly the user is responding. Are they feeling kind of having a pain while using some of the feature, or they're like feeling happy or good about it? So this kind of qualitative data, their emotion, their behavior, you have to more of observe. So how exactly you can do that? Like you have to start with a very wide context. Make sure that your question don't start with your product. Like starting the user interview doesn't like, okay, this is the product, I want to take interview. Not like that. You really have to give a proper context. Try to mingle with them by initiating the conversation in a very casual way and then inserting your product question, and so that they feel very comfortable while answering your question as well. Ask question that more focus on the task that user are really trying to complete, and not like very unwanted question that doesn't make sense for your application as well. And once you have that data, then you can really kind of, so how exactly, once you are taking interview, you can make a note as well parallelly as an individual person, or keep somebody as a parallel so that they can take a note as well, so that you are really fully involved in the understanding the user, or like he's the person, your friend can be a person who is really observing him and making a note of their qualitative data, their emotion, user behavior as well. And you really are into the moment of asking the question and understanding their real user behavior as well. And once you have that, maybe in terms of note or in terms of video recording or in terms of audio recording, by taking the obviously permission, you can later on analyze that data or transcript, analyze the transcript that you have recorded in terms of audio format as well, and then come up with some insight. So this method is generally, used in a design process, either in the starting or at the end of your project as well. I'll tell you in which context we have to use in the starting of your UX project and which context we have to use in the end of your project. So in the starting of the project, like when you are not clear about what is the user need, what is user pain point, how exactly user is going to use. So for understanding a basic persona element, you really have to do the user research, or you really have to going to do the user interview in the starting of your design process. And in the end, let's suppose that you are having a product ready. Okay, now really want to test your product. So some level of kind of usability testing, but in an interview format, having a face-to-face as well. So it's kind of you are litmus testing your product usability, and I feel like how exactly it is for the user. So it's kind of a first hand experience before launching a product, like maybe in the beta version itself. Second technique is the user survey. This is the most common used and very easy to conduct this user research technique, especially in the online environment. And I've seen most of the new designer who doesn't have the time bandwidth, or for example, you're working on any hackathon or working on any company task for your job as well. This is one of the simplest and easiest technique and fastest technique to gather the user data as well. And these are the also like a but this method is mainly used for like collecting the quantitative data for the user as well. Some level also you can ask for qualitative data by asking some descriptive question. So there are two kind of question you can put up in your user survey while understanding the user behavior and things as well. One is a close-ended question, which is having maybe in the format of ranking scale or multiple choice, so that user don't have to apply their mind in answering it. They already have a pre-populated answer and they just have to choose it or like opt it. Open-ended question is like open question, like how was your feeling, or what kind of feeling that you felt after using the product, or while this kind of using the product. For example, any taking example of a computer, so they might be writing their exactly pain point. So that is like qualitative data. Or open-ended question will give you more of a qualitative data for you as a designer. A survey can be used in kind of all the stages of the product development actually, because in the starting you can do the user survey to understand more about user. You can do the user survey to understand about computer as well. And even the specific timing when your product is developed, and maybe by adding the screenshot of your product, you can ask some roll out the user survey as well to understand their endpoint and how exactly they're feeling as well. So first, obviously, in the conceptualization phase, when you things are not clear, you are like creating the concept, what exactly would be the feature of the application, or how exactly it is going to have the complete end-to-end journey of your application as well. In that aspect, you can do the user survey as well. And post-launch as well, like during iterative design process, like usability study, when do that, we also do in a survey format as well. Third one, this one is very not common news, I can say, but this is quite popular, especially for working in a company. This is not popular for a designer who is not working professionally in a company, because they might not be exposed to this method as well. And this is the one of the strong or powerful user research technique actually we can use. This is really having a huge potential, and I've seen that very few really experienced designers also are using in the company as well, which is maybe this really gives a amazing and to the point data of your current application, how exactly it is performing. So this method really can be used, not especially when you're thinking of a completely new product idea, but if you already have some product and already having some user, they're using it, and you're having analytics tool like WebEngage, MoEngage, CleverTap. These are the some of the common used analytics tool as well, which is available on internet at some free trial and premium as well for a company. So you can sync your analytics tool with your design, how exactly it has been used. So you can track the metrics. For example, it really help in understanding the click rate. For example, if you're having a website or mobile app, And in the home page, let's suppose that let's take example of any e-commerce app. Okay, so you can track the data of, like, for example, how many users landed to the home page of your e-commerce app, which is like explore, and how many users have really searched any specific product and landed to the product detail page. So for example, X number, for example, 100 users have landed into the home page. Obviously, not everybody would be exploring the product detail page. So for example, 80 users have explored that product detail page. Out of 80 user, only 40 users have reached in the like or maybe 60 users have clicked on the added to cart option, which is like obviously like a conversion flow. And out of 60 user, maybe your 20 user have finally bought the product. So this kind of data exactly you can get it actually by so while how exactly it happens. Once you design any of the feature or product, once you go for a developer create a metric analytic tagline, and it puts up in the analytics software, which really track exactly the click rate and any flow that you want to define. Even this software or some of this software called Microsoft Clarity and Google Analytics, I think as well, they also provide a screen recording of exact user clicks. So if any of the user is having like a session of opening the app till closing the app, having less suppose that 1 minute of complete product session. So this tool also record a complete video in a video format, like, okay, user have clicked on the home page, then scrolled, then opened some, clicked on the banner, like offer banner, which we recently launched, and they clicked on the real product, then the product detail page, and final buy. So it's kind of a, you can see how exactly your user is using your product, where exactly their cursor is going. The screen recording really help you understand where exactly which button they are not clicking because maybe of less of a size, or where exactly they are not navigating. So this is the very detailed analysis technique for as being a designer, to analyze your user behavior and how exactly the usage of your product as well, and identify the gap or identify the things that is not working, or even identify the things which is really working very amazingly, which was not expected or predicted. So this tool, this technique really help if you really in the company, because these are the tools are really costly tools and companies generally purchase, and we really kind of sync with our real product as well, so that we can track that data. This is one of the example from my past company example as well. So we were like checking, we were redesigning the top navigation bar of our website, and this is how exactly we have really noted down every number from the analytics tool, that okay, this much clicks, for example, having more of a clicks on the college finder, which was one of the tab navigation actually in the website. So this data helps us to get to know that which are the top 5 used feature on the top navigation, which are the less used feature or a product or a services on the top navigation. Based on that, accordingly, we have regrouped and recreated the redesign the complete top navigation flow actually, and something that we really wanted to add as well. So that also like helps. Now, next method. Before going to the next method, I just want everybody to, if you have any question till like all the 3 resource method that we have understand, so please ask. Guys, anybody have any question or any thought or like to ask as well? Okay, cool. So I'll go ahead. So next user resource method is a cart sorting method. Cart sorting, it's a very simple that you have heard all about already too much about it as well. But it's like it's a step of creating a intuitive information architecture actually. So this step generally comes just before creating an information architecture, after creating user flow as well. So it's a like great technique to like generate ideas or as well, or naming convention, what exactly would be the label name, the term name, the maybe description as well, or simply see how exactly user understand your topic or the domain as well. There are different methods to do that. So generally, how exactly this happens? You create a card by writing some of the feature or a specific name as well, or like you provide so there is a 3 different method actually. So open card sorting, like kind of you provide a lot of features and a lot of information to the user by writing on a small card or like a sticky notes as well, and you give them the environment to group it. So there is a 3 method or option that we give them to group it. based on our requirement. One is called open cart sorting. What exactly is open cart sorting? It means that you are not giving any grouping or a kind of category for them. Their job, even they are going to decide based on their understanding, like, okay, these 5 points should be grouped together. So they are going to decide the category and how exactly it is making sense to them. So in this method also, like, you really involving your user. Nowadays, a lot of like websites also offer a online cart sorting method as well. But not sure how exactly that is feasible. If you can really do the cart sorting method with, even with help of your employee as well, if you're working in a company environment, and if you're like a student or not working professionally, then you can do the cart sorting with your like your friend, or like really bringing your real kind of user to your place or visiting to their place and providing this environment as well on maybe open board or a wall, so that they really can play around with that as well. So obviously one is open cart sorting. We are not defining the category, we are not defining the grouping. They are going to define the category based on how exactly they perceive the name and the idea or the feature. Second one is hybrid card sorting. Like participant can like sort the card into like predefined category as well, and also they can create their own group based on their understanding as well. Closed card sorting is simple, but like you are really kind of giving the, okay, out of all this card that I'm giving you, you have to group in this 8 category as well. So this is closed card sorting. This also helps when exactly you have a lot of feature idea. This help in prioritization as well. So this is how exactly, if you're doing a card sorting in a like a board, real board by with help of sticky notes. So you can provide a lot of sticky notes that people start writing feature parallel as well, and sticking in a very one of the group that is making more sense. That group name can be categories, or like the way they are going to use it, or the maybe the requirement or the outcome or the process. Anything can be, it can be actually. Next one is the usability testing. So this is one of the quite heard or popular term in the UX design actually. And but honestly, a lot of people have not practiced this actually. So if we really can do the usability testing of one of our product, then you really get a ground level understanding of how exactly we have to do. So it's one of the technique actually that evaluate your product, how exactly it is has been built, by like providing them certain tasks to the user as well, and you're going to absorb them, like how exactly they are doing it, by noting down or like a picture or a in terms of video as well. You are like collecting the research data as well. So the goal of the conducting usability study is the simple to understand the your design intuitive or like easy to use or not. This can be done in the before development phase, when your design is ready, I mean to say like ready for development. But before development, you are maybe providing your complete design in a clickable prototype way with help of a lot of software that is available nowadays, like Miro or in Figma and Sketch and Adobe XD as well. And user can really start using your product in their phone or the web or laptop devices or web devices, and starting reacting to that, or starting like telling their understanding or noting down their studying, or you are asking questions so that they are answering as well. So this is the one of the usually like perform with very functional or like high prototype. So let's suppose that you have a design ready, so that it's very clear idea how exactly your design would be in the final, either a mobile app or a website. So you can do that. So maybe you have a Figma, InVision, Sketch, or any prototype ready, then you can do in this kind of platform as well. So when exactly, even you can do before starting designing as well. Let's suppose you are working on a redesign project. So you can do the usability study of your current product that is having, which might have a lot of problem and gap as well. So identify to those gaps, you can conduct the usability study when you are redesigning any of the things. And you are working fresh on any of the product, then you can do in the once it is ready till the functional level, like at a design level or development level too. Once you have like wireframe prototype ready, you can test at wireframe level 2, like interactions, clicks, button sizes, the flow. And prior to launch of the product, let's suppose that your product is already developed and in a beta version, you mean that some with having restricted access, somebody can access. So you are providing the link to the beta version of your product by either a web app or a mobile app application or a website, and they can use it. before launching to the market or opening for every audience as well. And even this can be done like any stages of the launch as well, like different stages of the launch too for any of the product. Now we'll go with the user persona. So these were the 5 techniques of the user research. Now we'll jump to the second stage of our overall core UX process, which is called user persona. So first of all, what is user persona? The user persona, like it's a very fictional representation of your target audience. So let's take example. For example, your audience might be millions of audience or millions of potential audience, but you have to define your audience in a certain groups, and you have to create certain personas so that you can really understand the ground level, their pain point, their behavior, their goals, their needs, and their exactly like how exactly their user behavior for this specific group of people. So you can divide your complete user audience maybe in a different persona as well. So it's not always to have only one persona. You can create multiple persona, 2 to 3 different persona as well, but it's also not allowed to create a tens of persona or 20 of persona of your app that you're designing, because it will divert your goal and you might not be focused what exactly you want to build or provide the experience to the user as well. So it's first of all user persona. The picture that we use, the user persona is not real. Like it could not be exactly like for Mukesh. It can be a person like a Mukesh. So Mukesh represent maybe a millions of people or a 10,000s of people. So this is how exactly we have to do in a fictional way. But the pain point, the every data that you are going to collect in the persona is going to come from your user research that you have followed, and all those insights that you have gathered from your user research, you are going to kind of refine it and make it in a very point, a specific point based on user persona, and then write it in user persona. So user persona is kind of a final fictional representation of your everything about your user, which is the insight that you got from your user research actually. So key factor, obviously, that they really have to consider while creating a persona. Some of the very basic thing. Apart from that, you can go for any advanced factor as well that you think which is relevant or will be relevant for your audience or your application based on your context. User demographic detail like name, their job, their age, and basic picture, and like something that represent who exactly this person is. And user goal at very high level, what exactly they want to achieve by using our app. Basic user need, like ground level, what is the need of this user, like what is the need of their exactly the product. The pain point that user might face or might be facing already as well based on your user research that have done with the user. So you might have you will get to know that okay, this is something that is going to really create a pain for them, so obviously you are going to avoid in your final application as well. Some of the behavioral rating as well, like are they feeling happy or like motivated, or there are a lot of factors based on the requirement as well. Device usage, for example, if you are really thinking of creating a product which is going to be in mobile devices, web devices, and tab and other various devices as well, so obviously you have to consider those factors while doing the user research as well, and you have to mention in your persona too. So persona is like a final outcome of your complete user research that you have done in a very short and crisp way, so that you can focus on the specific user goal, need, and pain point, so that you can design for that. These are the some of the user different way to represent user persona. There is a user persona where like there are premium user, there are few users. It's very short, and the not much of information is there. Here it's pretty much clear written that premium user is going to use the premium or a free product for both, and free. Our goal as a designer to like convert free user to the premium. So free user is our main user persona. And how what exactly would be the pain point while purchasing a premium product, for example doing a payment or like buying some services with some cost. So how exactly goes through their all the pain point and basic needs, so that we can focus on the pricing page of any of the freemium application as well. This is the user persona for one of the user who is like creating a TV watching application, like which app or which movie or a series to watch. So those kind of user, it's only key problem listed here. So based on the requirement of a specific. So it's not compulsory that every persona would have every aspect that I've discussed, like all the 6 aspects. So it can be very minimal as well, based on the requirement and based on the type of project and the timeline that you're working as a designer. This is the persona where you can see everything in a very detailed way. Like this is the more about reading a book. Okay, it's a book application, and you can see like demographic data, goal, all the reading habit has been very detailedly, I mean, mentioned here, like fast-paced reader, never lend book, and like hardcover. And I mean, this is more like a person like who can read in a hard copy than the soft copy too. So, and even their take behavior, like okay, they are more into internet and less into social network, and what is their frustration and pain point too. So in different persona, based on your requirement, you are going to use those key factor, what exactly is going to analyze, or something. Also a hint that what exactly we should include in persona is that something that we really have observed from your user interview. Let's suppose that you have already gathered pain point from your user interview, you really have to mention that. If you are gather really that okay, it's maybe a device specific user pain point can be different, but user behavior can be different, so you have to mention the user behavior and pain point device specific as well in the persona. This is the another persona where you can see like okay, motivation factors also have been considered, influence factor also have been considered, behavior factor also have been considered, required on this product. Similar here as well. Here you see like personality trait like introvert or extrovert, like analytical thinking or a creative thinking, or loyal or a kind of fickle person. So depend upon kind of what kind of emotion your app require, what kind of behavior maybe your app is going to represent once it is live. So based on that, actually, you are going to look at those factor or maybe ask those questions related to those factor as well in the user interview, and something that you will get as an insight you are going to present here in the persona too. User flow. Before going to user flow, guys, anybody have any question? Just let me have a sip of water. Okay, cool. So I will quickly go through the user flow. So there are two terms actually, user flow and task flow. So I will start with user flow, and then I have answered the what is the difference between task flow and user flow. So user flow is a simple but visual representation of a complete process from end to end, like starting to the end of your application. Okay, so it's like a something that like when your user start using, like login or open the app or seeing the onboarding screen and then logging and then coming to the home page and then going to a specific service and all the services. So user flow cover every flow your app have in one flow itself called user flow, and end to end from starting when user open the app and when they close the app by using any specific feature or services, and you are creating a complete detailed flow where like task and action are also mentioned, then that is called user flow. This is the stage when your kind of feature have a clear or you get a detailed understanding about your persona, your user research, and you already have collected some of the feature as well. Then you can draw the complete journey of a user, that is called user flow end to end. So there is a multiple way to draw user flow as well. So before that, generally user flow have an entry point and the exit point as well. So for example, they can enter to the like start of the application and they like go to the home page using a specific feature that, like how I have discussed, or signing up and or logging as well if they already have an account. And so this user flow is going to like a depict, or you're going to give you the freedom as a designer to evaluate and optimize the actually the step that user is going to take actually. So for example, if using of any feature is going to a 6 steps for user, as a designer, this is like a traditional way. For example, if there is a in other application, it is taking a 6 step to finish any of the task for the user or any of the flow or a service to the user. As a designer, you can think like how exactly I can minimize the steps so that it can be very simple and easy to use as well. So conversion from step 1 to 6, which is can be very shorter span of time. That is our goal as a designer. If you can really minimize those gap by reducing the time or the steps by creating the user flow. So when you create user flow, you will get to know that, okay, these are the steps. If I can eliminate by directly redirecting them to this place, so this will give you a visual representation of a complete user journey from end to end in your for your application. And you can think of which step to remove and where exactly to add and add the connection as well. This is how exactly user flow look like. So it will always have entry point and exit point as well. And it also involve the what exactly the information is going to display. Where is the place they are making a decision like yes or no, or going this flow or that flow, and taking the action by clicking on the button as well. This is one of the user flow as well. And this is another level of user flow which has been created in Miro software as well, in a very step-by-step manner for all the tab for any of the app as well. Another one is task flow. So task flow is kind of, you can say like it's a subset, or it talk about any specific task from your complete user flow. So for example, user flow can have a complete app structure or app representation. But task in one user flow, there can be a multiple task flow as well. So for example, one task can be of signing up is the one task. Signing up is the one task. Logging is the another task, or parallel task for signing up as well. Doing the KYC process of any of the trading and investment application, we are really going to upload a lot of your personal and financial information can be another task. So in one trading and investment app, it can be tens of 20 of task flow as well. So in one, this task flow is like a subset in a very simpler language. It's like a portion of a task like that really user is going to perform. Okay. Task flow is like a portion of task that show the like a flow of a task as well. And it always comes as the one of the subset, like one of the subsection in the complete user flow. This is the very common mistake I have seen a lot of designer doing it in their task, in their portfolio as well. So I really wanted to highlight it here. User flow is not exactly as task flow. First of all, user flow, task flow is a subset of user flow, as I mentioned. So obviously, it's like they both are not same, first of all. So task flow focus on a single task, while user flow focus on all the specific journey of a complete app itself. Task flow does not include any of the user action or like decision making. It's only step by step, like how exactly user is going to finish the task. Task flow is a very linear path, like it doesn't go in a loop or connect in another level for the same task. But like task flow doesn't have any alternative path, like it has only have one simpler path. If it is having another path, then it is another task flow actually. So, and user flow is a very complex, like it is like a mix of all the task flow and the complete user journey for application as well. Now we'll go to the information architecture. And this is kind of a thing that we can say like, I'll give you example. For a human body, skeleton, our skeleton, like Kankal Tantra in Hindi that we say, okay. The skeleton is something that information architecture of a human body, I can say that. So information architecture, like it's like a structured way. Okay, it's the structure of your content or functionality in a way that so that user can understand very basic of your application or how exactly it would be. And generally how it is visually it seems in a design language as well. For example, if you have really a skeleton of your body, any of a doctor or any of the medical practitioner or professional get to know that which part, like for example, this is your hand, this is your leg, this is your head. So in the same way, if you create a complete detailed structure where your content, really writing exact content, exact functionality, exact path as well, so that user can quickly and easily find the information what exactly they're looking. Okay, so it's like a practice of organizing content in a very simpler and visual way is called information architecture. And it helps, first of all, why information architecture is important when you already have drawn the user flow, when your complete user journey is clear. So in user journey, the term, the label, the content that you're using might not or can be fictional too. It cannot be exactly like exact or real as well. But when you are drawing an information architecture, all the content, the name, for example, if it is a home page, then only write as a home. You don't have to write on a click on a home page. So you have to write as a home, search, or invest, or a portfolio tab. So this kind of exact terminology you have to use, how exactly it is going to be in the application. So this is the stage which comes. This is a stage which comes when you have a content is clear. We have done the grouping as well. When your things have really in a very clear picture, then you draw the information architecture. So it helps the designer to create the skeleton. And obviously it also helps to understand the app feature, what is the action, what is the content in a very detailed way. it doesn't only help designer, but it also, when your information architecture is ready, when you can give the information architecture to your developer who's going to develop your feature or a product, that is really going to give them the understanding like of a complete app in a very detailed way, like how exactly the complete flow, because they will only get to know the information which where exactly they have to design a tab, where exactly they have to design a page, where exactly they have to design an action or a content, a scrollable page. So everything that they will get to know by looking at the information architecture. And when they really look at the final app, they will get a more detailed understanding about the UI element like color, font, size, shadow, gradient, everything, the margin, padding, everything. It also help the developer to like define the path. Okay, so if user logins, what are the different paths that he can go to use the same feature. So it also gives the direction or different flow of the app, so that they can also think of which algorithm they are going to write in the coding language as well while developing. So this is how exactly information architecture also look like in a visual way. So it start with the initial point like a home page. After login, generally this has been considered. And there are 4 different tabs. Then obviously like clothing search. This is one of the 4 e-commerce site. Clothing search, accessory chart, and location tab. And in the clothing, you can like find the cloth, and then you can find the clothes section. You go to like, okay, shirt, pant, every apparel item, different apparel item, you get to know that. Search section, user can search by like typing it, or like voice message, or like speaking, or like any AI search. Image search method also is nowadays available in the e-commerce site like Flipkart and Amazon. So they can like click a picture and search the same thing on e-commerce app too. In the accessory section, like in the same way, like this is a very detailed one of the small portion of one of the e-commerce app, not in a very detailed way, but this is how exactly the structure look like for information architecture. One of the information architecture for actually smart vehicle application, like a geofencing, where you can like can have a smart devices in your car, like. So how exactly the information architecture will look like for this. This is another information architecture example. So it having a very structured information, you see, right? By looking at it, it will be very clear for everybody who will looking how what are the things is going to be in the app or the website or the mobile app or the web app. Yeah, so this is all I wanted to discuss. So yeah, I mean, I'm done with the content. And if you guys have any question, obviously you can put up your question in the chat. And I want to really thank Rashika and ProApp to providing this opportunity. I don't want it to like stretch it this session quite long. So I wanted to make it very short and crisp, so that like you can focus more on the specific thing that we're discussing. So yeah.
But I think you were so clear that people, the audience already said that everything is clear. We don't have any questions.
Oh, is
So I
it?
think, yeah, that is like, it was such a detailed session, and I was like thoroughly into it. We do have 2, 3 questions. So
Okay,
the
sure.
first one is suggest us how can we prepare interview question for a certain persona? What
Mm.
details should we take care of?
Okay, so certain persona may like maybe based on your project that you have done, right? So first of all, before going to interview, whatever you have written in your portfolio, okay, whatever is you have written in your project, you should know that why exactly you have written. You should know the reason behind it, where exactly it came from, and why exactly you have done that, and then what outcome you got it. So you have to connect your complete story from the user research to the even something that you find as an insight in the user research that you have written in your persona as a pain point, for example. So if you are written it as a pain point, obviously you're going to solve for that or provide some solution for the pain point too as well. So story should be connected from user research to persona to the final solution that is there as a part of a UI as well. So you have to connect your personal element to the final solutioning or the feature that you have really presented on your application. Something that you have not presented or not solved exactly, and your, for example, you have only solved one problem in your final design, but you're writing as a 10 pain point or 10 problem, then it doesn't make sense. So you can maybe write max 2 to 3 or 4 max, and telling that based on the time constraint, I have focused only on the 1 or 2 problem or a pain point I really solve for the user. So this way you can connect your story and tell interviewer. Then interviewer will get to know the full story, complete context of your why exactly you have written this element in the persona. So it's kind of you have to know the reason behind what exactly you are writing and telling. Simple.
Right. Okay, we have one more. Could you please explain the differences between user flow and user journey?
Okay, so user flow generally is there's a two kind of user flow that we create. One is in a very rectangular box format by writing the exactly term and name by giving the arrow. That is one simplest way when things are not clear. For you have not design or wireframe is not ready, then you can do in this way. Another one is of creating a user flow is that you kind of have a screen ready in a very low fidelity wireframe or paper wireframe, and you connect the screen in a very logical sense that create a complete user flow as well. User journey is focusing on one of the specific things that user is going to achieve from the starting to end by telling everything about the user. So in user flow, you're not going to discuss what pain point he might have faced. So if you are really creating user journey, you don't have to like really create the persona as well. So it kind of also works part of a persona because it tells the pain point, it tells the gap where exactly user feels happy as well. So user journey is a kind of pictorial representation of a complete user, even including their pain point, their gaps, their kind of achievement as well, and also like telling the flow of the app. So it like tells everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, we have one final one in the Q&A part. Which design thinking framework is best for user research?
User research, it completely depend actually what kind of project you are working. So I will tell first of all, really go and understand your problem statement first before going for user research. And for example, in some of the problems you might not need to do any user research. For example, somebody have already done it in the company, so you don't have to repeat it again. But let's suppose it's something that new idea you thought of, okay, and you really got to know that okay, this kind of user would be the real potential user for your application or app too. Then there obviously require a different it kind of depend on a different factor, like are you able to reach out to them or not as well. So most of the one of the at least good or average technique I can say is that minimum you have to at least do a user interview, try to do follow any of the user research technique which is involving user with you in a real way. So when you really kind of interact with the real user, than following any secondary method like internet way where you're not interacting directly with user, like that they're entering it but they're not interacting with you, they're interacting with your questions. So I will suggest if you are in the starting or beginning of your design career, in my earlier cohort as well, when I was running cohort with the function app, I told everybody to really visit the user, I mean, or like really kind of meet the user in real in person and ask the question. It doesn't matter it goes well or not. Maybe in some of the interview, you would feel like, okay, I have not collected any kind of good output or a good insight as well from the some of the user interview. But it's fine. It kind of gives the freedom to really understand. Some of your biasness will be breakdown actually. Some of the things that we imagine key, it would be like that, but it doesn't happens in a real way too. So I will tell you to follow any primary research technique, either user interview or contextual inquiry if possible. If you have a really enough time, if you're working on a like big project, maybe in your educational college degree project as well, or a big cohort project, we really have enough plenty of time. Go and spend some time with the user, really understand their context and understand their pain point and problem by really being in that environment. That will give you a more understanding as being a designer. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have one more in the chat section.
Sure.
I'm interviewing multiple personas for a UX project to
Okay.
decide font and colors for the project. What kind of questions should I ask him?
Okay, so if you are interviewing for your color and uh,
Font.
font, right? Then you have to uh, consider the aspect of what we say, like their hearing senses, or there are five senses for as being a human being, right? And color or font, something that is a part of UI element that is going to be always visible on your app, no matter which screen you are. those elements are going to be there almost. Okay, so this is going to be a very crucial factor based on the sense organ the human have, like what we call, I'm just forgetting the term. There is one term defined for that. There is one rule which involve user senses. So, for example, color is going to be visible by our eye. So, for example, if you're creating a product only for not for a blind person, okay, then you don't have to consider like their aspect as well. So you have to consider alternative way of like having a voice feature as well, so that like you can tell something that is being presented on the screen. And if you're not if you're designing a product, then you have to consider aspect of a color blindness aspect as well. So you have to ask a question like a color blindness, or what level of or degree of visual things they can see. So it depends upon age factor too. So for example, if creating a product for a kid, and if you're creating a product for an aged person like a 60 plus, obviously their visual accuracy would be really lower than the like mid-aged people as well. So those are the aspect like age factor, level of visual hierarchy, color blindness, or the if they are blind, like how exactly you're going to handle the situation by putting up extra design element or alternative option as a design element as well. So those are the aspect exactly you are going to ask or plan in your question while doing the user interview.
Okay. What is the order for creating personas, empathy map, and customer journey? In which phase should they be done?
Okay, so this is how exactly the real sequence to persona first, then empathy map, because without having understanding of a person, empathy map is nothing but it's like a qualitative representation of your user persona. Where you, if you start mentioning in user persona, then it will be really huge and cluttered user persona. That's why we keep it in a different process called empathy mapping. Okay, so there's a qualitative aspect that we do in a empathy mapping. So first user persona, then empathy mapping, then complete user journey mapping as well.
Nice. Yeah, I think we are done with the questions, and
Okay.
I would.
Great then. So guys, I think Rasika have already posted my LinkedIn too. So you can reach me out on any of the places. My common username is Mukesh UX. So you can search anywhere on internet and you will find me. I have my own website as well where I have really uploaded a project. If you really want to understand all the process that I've discussed. In some of the project, I've really followed the process that I've discussed here. So in some of my college project, you will really get to know the contextual inquiry as well, and really kind of fly in wall technique as well that I have followed. So even you can maybe ping this link as well, Rashika, in the chat. You will have access. My own website and really get to know more about me as well. If you have any question, then obviously kind of reach out to me through any social media or LinkedIn, anywhere. And I will be happy to answer if something that I have not answered here, or something that is your doubt which is coming maybe later on after the workshop. So yeah, that's all, Rashika, from my side. Thank you so much to you and the live audience.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I think everyone really enjoyed the session, and thank you for such a detailed session. People hardly do it, right? So thank you so much for that. Yeah. And have a great weekend ahead. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.